Hey everybody, this is Pastor Bob and this is Life with Luke number 17. This past Sunday we looked at Luke chapter 6 verses 1 through 11, which is another in a series of controversy stories, this time a controversy about the Sabbath. Now to you and me, the Sabbath might not mean very much because by and large, most of us living in the West today, and not just the Western U.S., but the Western world, when we think of the Sabbath, we don't really care much about it. We might not understand anything or misunderstand it greatly. Chances are none of us really practice it much at all, if at all. And so it's hard for us at first to understand what a big deal this is in the world of Jesus. What a big deal it is to Jesus, to his disciples, to the Jewish people, what a big deal it is in the Bible, and what a big deal it is to the Pharisees. And we meet these Pharisees, and it's easy just to denigrate them, but they are people who are trying to take very seriously every word in the law of God, in the Bible, and apply it to every contingency of life. And in that, we have to really respect them. But in this passage, we see that they have lost their way. They've missed the forest for the trees. The Sabbath command comes to God's people and is one of the very central parts of their identity. And here's a way of thinking about it. Here in the middle, we see the Ten Commandments, the succinct commandments of God to God's people. It's in Exodus and in Deuteronomy, and it includes a specific Sabbath command to keep the Sabbath, to rest on that day. Outside of that, we see the law, and this is other legal material in the Old Testament that tries to flesh out that command and apply it in certain situations. And then outside of that is a much, much bigger body of material called the tradition. And this was written by commentators and rabbis and different leaders that covers just almost any and every situation you could possibly think of to apply the Sabbath command to those situations. And in Jesus' day, there were over 1,000 Sabbath regulations in that tradition. And that's where Jesus and his disciples run up against the Pharisees in Luke chapter 6. Two situations in particular. One, rubbing heads of grain, and that being seen as labor, as harvesting. And then the opportunity to heal a man with a withered hand on the Sabbath. And Jesus finds himself in this situation. He makes an incredible, astounding claim to the Pharisees. And he says, the Son of Man, referring to himself, is Lord of the Sabbath. We might not know what exactly to do with that, but that carried so much meaning for Luke's readers. Jesus is the Lord of the Sabbath. It doesn't mean that Jesus is just throwing everything out and saying, hey, everybody, you're just blowing this way out of proportion. Let's knock it off with all the rules. Sabbath is not that big of a deal. I'm just here to tell everybody to lighten up. That is not what he's saying. When Jesus says the Son of Man is the Lord of the Sabbath, he means he is Lord over everything that the Sabbath represents. And what the Sabbath represents is God's command, God's invitation to his people and to everyone to just stop. That's what the word Sabbath means. To just stop and remember that God is in control. That God is not surprised by anything. God is not worried. God knows us and loves us and cares about the details of our lives and promises to provide for us. Promises that we don't have to make a life for ourselves. We don't have to make significance for ourselves. We can stop and the world is going to just keep on spinning right along just fine. Thank you very much. And that is a great piece of news for us. When Jesus says, I'm the Lord of the Sabbath, it means we can't do anything to save ourselves. We can't do anything to bring lasting change to the world. Everything rests on God. God is responsible for everything, and God has done for us what we could never do for ourselves. And that's what God is doing in Jesus himself. So I hope this is a refreshing and timely reminder and encouragement to you today. What we do is nothing compared to what God has done for us. And God gives us the invitation. He said, friend, just stop. Just join me in stopping and knowing that I am in control. You can be still and know that I am God. I have got you. Have a great week.